Hello everyone, Ryan here. So recently saw Rocketman. That's right, Rocketman. Of course it's the biographical movie, or I guess also technically somewhat autobiographical movie about Elton John, or Sir Elton John. And well, I gotta admit, I've never been a huge Elton John fan. I still... There's maybe like a handful of his songs that I kind of sort of like. That's only because growing up, my parents listened to Elton John a lot more than I did, so obviously my parents' musical tastes kind of rubbed off on me, and then eventually I got more into the heavier kind of rock, heavy metal, and hard rock, all that kind of stuff. But that doesn't mean that I don't feel that Elton John doesn't have any kind of talent, because obviously he does. He's definitely written a lot of really catchy songs, and pretty much that's what this movie portrays, is that he ended up doing everything he could to just write a lot of really catchy songs, and he accomplished that. Of course, along with his songwriting partner, this guy by the name of Bernie Taupin, I believe, or Topin, or yeah. So this guy Bernie, he met because Elton John, of course, his real name is Reginald, and he of course came up with the stage name Elton John Elton because he was playing in a band at the time. One of the other members, his name was Elton Dean, but then he got the John part from John Lennon. Of course, if you don't know who John Lennon was, one of the members of the Beatles, one of the founding members of the Beatles. And so yeah, that's how he got the name Elton John. And one day he went to meet with this kind of, I want to say, like music publishing company of some kind, and he told him that he was a songwriter, but of course that he doesn't write lyrics. He just, writes music, comes up with music on the spot most of the times. Yeah. So they, pretty much the songwriting company, they got him in touch with this guy Bernie, who writes a lot of lyrics, and that's how they became this dynamic songwriting duo, and the rest was history. Eventually they came to the States, played in some bar called the Troubadour in California. I want to say somewhere in the LA area, Hollywood area. Yeah, I don't know. I want to say either like Hollywood or West Hollywood, or I don't know. It's been a long time since I've personally been to Los Angeles, so. But anyways, yeah, the first actual show they played at was at the Troubadour, and of course they ended up blowing away everyone who was there. And then after that, Elton John just became even more popular and pretty much a household name. I guess, which is kind of what his ultimate goal was. And then, of course, like a lot of other movies of the same sort. It depicts the ugly side of fame and success, and the fact that he ended up drinking a lot, doing a lot of drugs, and having a lot of casual, anonymous sex, and sex, drugs, and rock and roll, and which a lot of musicians back then, a lot of bands participated in that stuff, and then also too, of course, this movie, it is technically a musical, but I will say I didn't mind it, because usually I'm not a fan of musicals. But this one, it was, it was all right. I mean, the musical moments when like people broke out into song and dance, but it at least like fit within what was going on in each particular scene. So, I mean, it wasn't like, like in other musicals, they might break out into song and dance when they're like washing the dishes or making a sandwich, or that's not how it is with this movie. So yeah, I don't know. I mean, for me, those song and dance moments, they didn't feel too over the top, so that's why I was able to, for the most part, stomach them and sit through them. Yeah. Obviously, one thing I guess I didn't know was that Elton John, he had kind of a hard childhood, difficult childhood. Well, I mean, like a lot of other people, especially when it comes to creative types. But I guess for whatever reason, his father had a really hard time showing him affection. And, I mean, his mother showed him a lot more affection. But she too was like rough around the edges, I guess. And when he finally came out to her, when he finally told his mother that he's a homosexual, she basically told him that she always knew, and that she told him something along the lines of that, something about like that he was choosing a lifestyle which would ultimately leave him lonely, leave him completely alone, and will make it hard for him to be loved by anyone or something like that. So yeah, I mean, which for him was like a pretty low blow. I mean, to hear something like that from your own mother. And so yeah, after that, he ended up having a very strained relationship with her. And although, I mean, ultimately, eventually, towards the end of the movie, it shows how he's able to forgive his parents for, not so much, I guess, because he wanted to forgive them, but more because he realized that was a big part of why, I mean, him having a strained relationship with his parents, that was a big part of what was fueling his drug addiction and other addictions as well. So that's why ultimately, again, towards the end of the movie, he decides to forgive them, and in order so that he's able to move on with his life. And so, yeah, I mean, I guess you could say it has kind of a happy ending. Or I mean, obviously, Elton John is still alive, and after, of course, at the end of the movie, they show like they had a couple of sentences here and there about what Elton John is up to nowadays and all that. And so yeah, ultimately, it's a musical, but at the same time, again, not too over the top with the song and dance stuff. And I like that it's real too. It shows for the most part, everything that Elton John went through and how he eventually learned to overcome his addictions and forgive his parents for them not, understanding him and not showing him the right amount of, not showing him any compassion really during the moments when he really needed it. So, yeah, and of course I will say the performances they're all pretty good. Of course, the main guy, Taron Egerton, he does an awesome job as portraying Elton John. Definitely, I mean, to me, it felt like, he really studied up, and so he got it down pretty well. I wouldn't be surprised if, obviously, he shadowed Elton John for a while, followed him, studied him and whatnots, and so I guess overall, I would give the movie, I guess I'd give it solid 8 out of 10. Yeah, it's not bad, and there was also some moments that were kind of fantasy but that's mostly because it's supposed to be it's supposed to show the audience how Elton John, how he felt when he first experienced these certain moments in his career. And so, I mean, it's a good movie, but also there wasn't really anything that blew me away, nothing too fantastic or I don't know. I mean, I'm just saying, I've heard about some other critics compare it to Bohemian Rhapsody, of course, the recent movie about Freddie Mercury and Queen, and of course, obviously, definitely, I would say Bohemian Rhapsody is way better, has a lot more detail to it. That movie definitely blew me away. And this one, I really didn't, but I still enjoyed it nonetheless. So, I mean, I guess ultimately, if you're a huge Elton John fan, you probably really, really thoroughly enjoy this movie. So, yeah, in that case, if you haven't seen it, I definitely recommend watching it. If you're a big Elton John fan. So, but yeah, otherwise, for me, I'd give it a solid 8 out of 10. And that'll do it for this review of Rocketman. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. As always, next time, don't forget, keep it real, keep on rocking, and peace.